Lord, I'm not ready for this battle. Lord, I'm not equipped for this battle. But I want you all to understand that even as Gideon was getting ready to go in this great battle, the Lord turned to him in verse 14 of Judges 6 and says, go in the strength that you have and save Israel. Judges 6 verse 14, he told him to go in the strength that you have and save Israel. Many of us will look and think that we're not strong enough. But what strength do you have? What strength do you have? What do you have? Well, I'm not strong enough. This person is too big for me. This person is too mighty for me. God has called each and every one of you, just like Gideon, you're mighty warriors in spirit, because if you have Christ in you, you have a mighty warrior within you. You have the Spirit of Christ, you have a mighty warrior within you. You all should be cranked up this morning. I'm not talking about with 8 minutes. You should be cranked up and ready to go out and fight a battle for God. By the time this thing is over with, we know the battle is the Lord's, but God is going to be leading you into battle. And you all should be ready to go out there and stand strong for Christ. We got too many Christians right now that are cowards. They're cowering around and they're tucking tail and they're running. Too many Christians that are silent when they should be speaking. Too many Christians that are sitting when they should be standing. Too many Christians that are running south when they should be running north. Too many. And God is simply saying it's a call for every Christian that's out there. You may be few in numbers, but you're mighty. You're mighty warriors. You're mighty warriors. And God is calling for his Christians to stand up this morning. To stand up in all aspects, whether it be on your job, whether it be in your families, whether it be on social media. He's calling for Christians to stand up. We can't fight this thing alone, but we can fight it with God. And God is calling his troops to war right now. We're at war, church, right now. We're in the middle of a war. We're in the middle of the war, and Satan seems to be winning this thing. We know that ultimately he's going to lose because we serve the mighty great I am. We know in the end it's all going to be said and done and Christ is going to be victor. But right now we're in the midst of a battle that God says, I need you to do some things because there's some people that need some salvation. There's some people that need to be saved. There's some people that need to hear this gospel, and you're afraid to speak it. You're afraid to live it. You're afraid to show it. You're starting to look just like the world and less like the word. And God is simply saying, I need champions this morning. I need champions this morning. I need some people that's bold enough and brave enough to say, I will stand, I will go, as he called on some of his people and said, who will go? And some will say, I will go. Send me, Lord. That's what he needs this morning. Someone to say, I'm going to be bold enough and brave enough to live God's word in this world, even when they reject his word and reject the one that stood for his word, Jesus Christ. This is what God is calling for this morning. He told Gideon to go in the strength that you have. And then we see he says, pardon me, my Lord. Gideon replied, but how can I save Israel? My clan is the weakest. Too often we will look and say, I'm too weak. I don't have enough strength. But what do you have? What do you have? If you give God what you have, he'll do some great things with it. If you give God the strength that you do have, he will multiply that. I want y'all to understand one more verse before I give you the main scriptural text. In verse 16 of Judges 6, the word says, I will be with you. I will be with you. The Lord told Gideon, I will be with you. That's the most important thing that we can have, knowing that God will be with us. When God was speaking to Joshua and Caleb, he told them to go, and he let them know that I will be with you. I will be with you. Go, and I will be with you. I want y'all to understand there is no battle that you cannot face when God is with you. There's no battle that you cannot go in expectation of winning when God is with you. We have to know without a shadow of a doubt that God is with us. This is how champions are developed. This is how champions are bred. This is how champions are raised. When you know that God is with you. I stand strong in every battle I go into because I know that God is with me. Whether it's a health battle, whether it's a psychological battle, whether it's a spiritual battle or a physical battle, when you know that God is with you, you stand strong. Who's mightier than the Lord that we serve? Who's mightier than God that we serve? Who can overcome the God that we serve? Who can take the God down that we serve? We serve the God that created the heavens and the earth in 6 days, and on the seventh day, he rested. That's the same God that will give us rest, but God is challenging Christians this morning. Will you stand for me? Will you stand with me? Will you go out as I send you out this morning? God says, I'm with you. It doesn't matter how weak you are. You got to remember how strong he is. Y'all follow me this morning. How strong he is, that's what matters. Oh, it's time, church, it's time. The mark of a champion. The mark of a champion. I want to share with you Gideon, if you please stand, chapter 7, verses 7 through 18. And in this, I'm sorry, thank you, Judges. Thank you, woman of God. Thank you. Judges 7 through 18. And the Lord said to Gideon, with 300 men that lack, I will save you and give the Midianites into your hands. Pull in the cul-de-sac. Keep in mind, God is going to save. God is going to give. Let all the others go home. So Gideon sent the rest of the Israelites home, but kept the 300 who took over the provisions and the trumpets of the others. Now the camp of Midian lay below in the valley. During that night the Lord said to Gideon, get up and go down against the camp, because I'm giving it into your hands. Remember, God is giving. If you're afraid to attack, go down to the camp with your servant Purah and listen to what they are saying. Afterwards, you'll be encouraged to attack the camp. And he and Purah, his servant, went down to the outposts of the camp. The Midianites and the Amalekites and all the other eastern people had settled in the valley, thick as locusts. Their camel could no more be counted than the sand on the seashore. Gideon arrived just as a man was telling a friend his dream. I had a dream, he was saying. A round loaf of barley bread came tumbling into the Midianite camp. It struck the tent with such a force that the tent overturned and collapsed. His friend responded, this can be nothing other than the sword of Gideon, son of Joash, the Israelite. God has given the Midianites and the whole camp into his hand. When Gideon heard the dream and its interpretation, he bowed down and worshipped. He returned to the camp of Israel and called out, get up! The Lord has given the Midianite camp into our hand. Dividing the 300 men into 3 companies, he placed trumpets and empty jars in the hands of all of them, with torches inside. Watch me, he told them. Follow my lead. When I get to the edge of the camp, do exactly as I do. When I and all who are with me blow our trumpets, then from all around the camp, blow yours and shout, for the Lord and for Gideon. Amen. You may be seated. You may be seated. I want you all to understand that when God raises some mighty warriors, he raises them. We have the story of Gideon here. And Gideon started off with thousands of men. And if you notice, the word says that the Midianites and the Amalekites, and these were giants. The Amalekites were known for their build, for their stature. They were going up against some mighty warriors. They were going up against some mighty warriors themselves, at least in the world's eyes. They were going up against some huge people. And many of them, if you think about that for a moment, as described, the camels could no more be counted than the sand on the seashore. That's a lot of people. That's a lot of people. Too often we will let the sight of our battle intimidate us. The sight alone of our battle will intimidate us, but God is calling on a few Christians bold enough and brave enough and faithful enough to believe in him that you don't fear the sight of your battle. But you stand and you prepare and you get ready. Keep in mind, as God was sending Gideon, he told him to go down because the Midian, they were down in the valley. Sometimes God will take you in the valley in order to get you ready for your hilltop. Y'all follow me? Sometimes you're going to have to go down in that valley. Some of you right now, you're getting ready for the greatest battle in your life, and you look and say, Lord, why am I in the valley? Because guess what? Sometimes you need to go down in order for God to take you up. There's something down in that valley that you need to see. There's something down in that valley that you need to hear. There's something that you need to recognize in that valley before God takes you back up on high to prepare you for deliverance. Some of you, you're in the valley right now, but don't fret, don't cry, don't complain. Just do what you need to do while you're in the valley. They had to go down in the valley to hear what was taking place in the valley with the enemies. And sometimes your enemies, they're not going to be where you're at all the time. They're going to be down that valley, so you need to go down there to see what's taking place. Stop complaining about your valleys, church, but get ready for battle. Understand that during the night, look what it says, during the night. So some of you say, Pastor, you don't understand. Not only am I in the valley, but I'm in the darkest hours of my life. I'm in a dark season. Understand, they didn't go down in the valley during the daytime. They went down in the valley at night. Y'all follow me? Sometimes it's going to be in your darkest hours, in your darkest season, that God will allow you to go in the valley so that you can see and hear what's getting ready to take place. And keep in mind that when they went down in this valley, there was a lot of people there. The enemy was down in the valley, so it took courage. It's going to take faith for you to step off into this valley. Y'all follow me? It's going to take some courage and some faith to say, I know that the enemy is there, and I know that I'm outnumbered. He didn't go with 300. He just took one with him. And I'm just trying to tell somebody this morning, you need at least one that's willing to go with you too if you're going to go through what you're going to go through. Do you have at least one that's willing to go with you? The mark of a champion, the Midianites and the Amalekites, they're there, but I want you to understand that God is going to go before you. When you're a champion, you know that you're not going alone. You're not going alone. God is going to go before you. This word says that the young man said, I had a dream. This person spoke and said, I had a dream. God had already placed in their mind. You follow me? God will begin to work on the mind of your enemy as he's working on your heart to fight them. Y'all follow me? He began to work on the psyche of the enemy. Sometimes all you need to do is get into the enemy's head. You follow me? Once you get into the enemy's head, half the battle is won. I remember Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson, would you all consider him to be a champion at some point or another? Mike Tyson said, he said, what I would do when I go into the ring, this was a champion of champions. He's the youngest person in the world to ever win the heavyweight champion of the world. And they're talking about when he went into the ring, Mike Tyson said, one thing I would do with my enemy, he said, I would go into the ring, and he said, I would stare them down, and I would lock eyes with them, and I would not move my eyes off of them until they moved their head. Once they moved their head, they were broken. He said they were broken. He said the fight was over. Once they looked off, it was over, because at that point, he had gotten into their head. He said, once I can break their mind, he said it's over. They're not going to win the fight. I want y'all to understand, we don't have to play the mind games. God went into the head of this person, told him about this stuff. God went into the head of the enemy, and when God began to go into the head, he prepared their mind for defeat before the battle even ensued. Y'all understand that this morning? Yes. God will prepare your enemy for defeat before the battle even ensues. He will prepare them for defeat just as much as he's preparing you for victory. Do y'all understand me this morning? It's a twofold thing. He's not going to prepare you for victory and not prepare them for defeat. They're going to be ready. They might try to put on a face like they're going to win, but they already know that it's over before this thing even starts. They will show up just like Tyson, folks. I remember looking at one guy. He looked at Tyson eye to eye, and he tried to stare him down, and all of a sudden this guy did like that. It was over. It was over. God will have your enemy mentally defeated when you know that you're going to be victorious and you stand strong and you stand bold. I'm just talking about the mark of a champion. Right. God is talking about the mark of a champion in you as well. His friend responded, this can be no other than the sword of Gideon, son of Joash, the Israelite. God has given. I want y'all to understand the mark of a champion does not take credit for victories that God provides. Y'all understand? A true champion is able to say, Lord, I know that you gave me victory. I know that you helped me to win. I know that you strengthened me. I know that you delivered. This is God and a mark of a champion that we're speaking of. And I want y'all to understand, I'm going to skip down to verse 16 because the word says he divided 300 men. Understand this. They're going up against literally thousands, could be even more than we can ever count, because there are numerous people they're going up against. And he had 300 men. Too often we will look with 300 men, many people would be intimidated and said, there's no way I can face this battle. There's not enough of us. There's no way I can face this battle. I'm not strong enough. There's no way I can face this battle. It's not enough of us. But I want you to take what you have, because the word lets us know that they took this 300 and he divided them up, and he placed in their hands trumpets and empty jars with torches in them. You mean to tell me that these men are getting ready to go into battle with trumpets and jars with lamps? Like, come on, think about this for a moment. Does this make sense? You're going into battle with a trumpet? I understand one of you blowing the trumpet to tell us to go with our weapons, our swords, but you're going with trumpets. You need to learn to take what you have and fight the battle that God has placed before you. Y'all follow? Take what you have. God said if all you got is trumpets, a lamp, and a torch, then that's what you're going to have. And look what happens here. Too often we don't win the battle because we want to go out there and lead when God has told us to follow. I'm going to say that again. Too often we don't win the battle because we want to lead when God has told us to follow. Everybody's not going to be in charge. We have to learn to get behind the man or the woman of God that God has said is in charge. There are going to be some battles but that my wife is more prepared for, and I would tell her, you go ahead and lead in this battle. There are some things she's more equipped with. Y'all follow me? She's more equipped with talking to women and providing that counsel that I might not know nothing about. You follow me? I can't go leading a women's group meeting. You follow me? Not like she can lead it. You follow me? That's not my battle. So look what happens here. This word says, watch me, verse 17. Watch me, he told them, follow my lead. follow my lead. Y'all understand? Follow my lead. He said, when I get to the edge of the camp, do exactly as I do. Now, keep in mind, they don't win this battle unless the people follow specific instructions. Specific instructions. The Bible didn't say that some of them decided they're going to take a drum. Some of you want to beat the drum when God was telling you to take the trumpet. Oh, but you know what, Pastor? I can't follow you with that. I'm a drummer. I'm a drummer. That's what I do. I beat the drum. But no, you had a trumpet. Follow my lead. You're to take your trumpet and your jaw. Somebody looks at, but I got a 357. I'm going to take my pistol just in case. That's called doubt. Y'all follow me? That's called doubt. You're running for everybody. Stop doubting and take what God has told you to take into battle. Oh, come on, somebody. The mark of a champion. The mark of a champion knows how to listen and they know how to follow directions. Yes. This is the mark of a champion. Look what the word says. Verse 18 says, when I and all who are with me blow our trumpets, then from all around the camp blow yours and shout for the Lord and forgive you. Yes. Shout. I'm telling you right now, the shout is going to precede your victory. The shout is going to precede your victory. The shout is going to precede your victory. I'm going to tell you all, these people learn to listen. They learn to trust God more than they trust themselves. A true champion is going to have faith in God, and they will do what he's going to, what God says to do, they're going to do exactly that, not anything else. They're not going to divert from that at all. A true champion will not hesitate to give God praises. But I want to tell you something. God is going to throw your enemy into confusion. Some of you champions are right now, you're wondering, do I go for it? Do I go for it in this battle? Know that God will throw your enemy into confusion. I want to draw your attention for just a moment to Judges chapter 7, verses 21 and 22. Judges 7, 21 and 22 says, while each man held his position around the camp, all the Midianites ran, crying out as they fled. This is confusing right here. Not only were they running, can you imagine that? All these people, the camels, more than you can count the sand on the seashore, they're running and they're crying out as they fled. Verse 22 says, when 300 trumpets sounded, look what happens now. The Lord calls, who calls? The Lord. The Lord calls the men throughout the camp to turn on each other with their swords. Wow. God calls your enemies to turn on themselves. They'll turn on each other, messing with you. Y'all need to tell him, if you mess with me, God gonna have you turn on each other. Y'all might have me outnumbered. You'll be messing each other up before you know it, messing with me. Because that's the God that we serve. Y'all understand what I'm talking about? The mark of a champion. The mark of a champion, he sets his mark on something greater than himself. He hasn't set his mark on something greater than himself. If you can't set your mark on something greater than yourself, you don't have the mark of a champion. You got to look beyond self and look and say, Lord, how can I serve you better? How can I help kingdom building better? A champion doesn't mind sacrificing self for the sake of others. Amen. A champion doesn't mind sacrificing self for the sake of others. Yes. Look what David did when it came to Goliath. He didn't mind sacrificing himself for the sake of others. That's the mark of a true champion. They don't just go the extra mile. They go another and another and another and another and another until success is attained or they are empty. That's the sign of a true champion. They keep going. A true champion is one that never allows fear to be greater than their faith. Y'all follow me? A true champion will never allow fear to become greater than their faith. They see victory before it's ever attained. Come on, somebody. Yes. A true champion is going to see victory before it's ever attained. If you can't see the victory before you attain it, then you need to get out of that battle, because that battle is not one you need to be in. You need to see victory before it's ever attained. A champion is one that makes those around them better, no matter who you are. If a champion is around you, you feel better. You feel strong. I need somebody that understands when a champion is around you, you get motivated, you get excited, you get ready for battle. That's why they put a few in charge of the many. Y'all understand what I'm saying? You need somebody that's going to get you motivated to say, we can do this. No longer do we doubt. We believe without doubt we can go in and win this thing. It took Joshua and Caleb to crank the people up. It's going to take one of you to crank the people up. Oh, come on, somebody. I'm talking about the mark of the champion. It's time for us to get together and get ready. I want y'all to understand, a champion will draw from their past victories more than they falter from their present problems. I'm telling you, I'll say that again. A champion will draw from their past victories more than they falter from their present problems. Your present problems, if they trip you up, then you ain't ready to go into battle. Y'all understand what I'm saying? If they trip you up to a point you fall and you stay down, you're not ready to go into battle. You need to look back on your past victories and say, God has done it before. Is that not what David did with Goliath? He helped me to take over and beat the bear and the lion and everything. Y'all follow me? He looked at his past victories and he got ready to face his present problems. God has given you all some victories. I don't care how minute or minor you might think they are, but you look at those victories and you hold on to them and you begin to give God the glory, and he will take whatever little you have and do it. Oh, come on, somebody, a lot with it. I'm talking about the mark of a champion. It's time to go to battle, church. It's time for us to stop talking about it ain't but a few of us. It's time for us to stop talking about we ain't strong enough, we're too weak. He said he was the weakest of the clan of Manasseh. Look what God did for him. God says, I'm going to take what you do have, a trumpet, a jar, and come on, a torch, and come on, and a shout. Sometimes you're going to need, come on somebody, just to shout. I need some people that's ready to shout before the victory even comes. Come on, they think that's all right. I'm talking about before the victory, whatever it may be. Come on. Oh, Jesus. A champion don't allow challenges to rob them of their focus. No, come on. A champion will not allow challenge to rob them of their focus. I'm talking about you're going to have some challenges, but those challenges won't your focus. Those challenges won't your focus. You may have a financial challenge, but God says your mark is right there. Your financial challenge is there, and it's robbed you of your focus. You're focused on that financial challenge, but God says the battle is straight ahead. I have the financial challenge. If you keep pressing ahead, you don't know I have deliverance next week for your financial issue. You just got to keep pressing forward. Don't let the challenge rob you of your focus. That challenge may be health issue, but you got to look beyond that health issue. When we follow in God, keep in mind, Gideon was following God, and he told the people to follow him. He knew that the lead that he was getting wasn't coming from him, but it was coming from God. Oh, come on. That's why it's so important. That's why it's so important for us to be engaged. I'm talking this morning. A champion desires to get up more than they desire to stay down. Oh, somebody might have heard that this morning. A champion desires to get up more than they desire to stay down. A true champion, I'm talking about all of us gets knocked down every now and then. Every one of us, every now and then, we do stumble. And every now and then, if we don't watch ourselves, we will fall. But a true champion desires to get up more than they want to stay down. When you want to stay down, that means you've given up. But when you want to fight, that means you get up. A true champion says, Lord, give me energy, give me strength, give me just a little bit more, Lord, so I can fight one more day, fight one more hour, fight one more week. I'm talking about a true champion. Stop making excuses and start making moves. God has something in store for you. It's time for us to move ahead. I'm talking about some true champions here this morning. True champion, a champion church, a champion rejoices in advance. A champion rejoices in advance. I'm talking about a true champion rejoices in advance. I'm talking about I need some people that's ready to rejoice about the victories that you hadn't even gotten yet. I'm talking about some true champions. If you want change in your relationship, begin to rejoice in advance and say, Lord, thank you for making my relationship better. Thank you for making my life better. If you want some things going on in your financial life, start rejoicing while you're broke. Come on, somebody. That's when he'll begin to fix you. Start rejoicing when your pocket's empty. That's when he'll get ready to fill them. Come on. This is called faith. Rejoice in advance. Oh, come on, somebody. I'm talking about a mark of a champion. God has put champion inside of every single one of you. You are a seed that needs to continue to be watered. A seed that continues to need light. And as that seed gets water and it gets light and it's anchored in the right soil, it's going to grow. A champion. They don't buy off on what the world says. Instead, they buy off on what the word says. Come on, somebody. Oh, the world will tell you one thing, but what does that word say? The world will tell you one thing. The world will tell David there's no way he can beat Goliath. The world will tell Gideon there's no way you can beat all those men. But the word of God, God encourages you to move forward. I want to tell someone this morning, a champion faces adversity head on. A champion faces adversity head on. Think about what David did to the Goliath. He ran straight towards him, head on. What is your problem? When you look at your problem and know that your God is bigger than your problem, you can run towards it head on. Head on. You don't divert. You don't go around it. You go straight to it. My father-in-law was a police officer, a Shreveport police officer, and he said that whenever you saw somebody that was contrary to what you were standing for, he said that as a cop, he said, you walk straight up on them. So what's going to happen? They're going to look off. You walk straight up on them. They're going to look off. You break them. When you look at your adversary, whatever that problem may be, and you walk straight up on it, that problem, guess what? You don't have to deal with that problem. That problem has to deal with you. Somebody might have thought that. It has to deal with you. It has to deal with you. I'm talking about a true champion. A true champion. A true champion, they keep hope and they keep a plan. You have to keep hope and you have to keep a plan. As a true champion, you keep hope no matter how dire the situation looks. And you also keep a plan. I've said before and I'll say again, if you don't go to sleep with a plan for your tomorrow, then you're already ruined on your today. Y'all follow me? You have to go to sleep with a plan for your tomorrow or you're already ruined for the day. You one step behind the enemy already because he's already planned to take you out tomorrow because he didn't finish you out today. Oh, come on somebody. Oh, a champion will use whatever resources they have to attain success without excuse. A champion will use whatever resources they have to attain success without excuse. Yes. Without excuse. Without excuse. God's got some inventor in you. Do y'all understand me this morning? Some of you ain't got but a few things in your hand. You ain't got, look, what did David go out with? He went out with a few stones, come on somebody, and a sling. Yes. Use what you have. Stop making excuses. Too often we say, well, I can't go into battle. All I have is a computer. Well, you better start researching. You better start Googling how, come on somebody, how you going to win this thing. You better start researching on how you going to win this thing. Pack away. Oh, a true champion. A true champion stands bold and courageous, knowing that God is with him. A true champion, defeat is not an option. With a true champion, they find a way to win. They find a way to win. A true champion will find a way to win. I'm going to close you all up. We're heading to close. Becoming a champion. If you want to become a champion, I'm going to tell you this morning, there are just a few things you need to do that God has given me. Of course, this is not an exhaustive list. You can add to it. But this list is for you this morning. This is what God says to give to you this morning. Becoming a champion, the first thing you want to do is aim high. You want to aim high. No matter who you are, aim high. People look and say, well, all right, I remember when I ran for U.S. Congress. Why didn't you just run for city council? I don't serve a city council God right now in my life. All right. God has gotten my spirit beyond city council. And there's nothing wrong with city council. Local government is needed. It's going to affect you more than anything. State government is going to affect you just as much. But God told me to aim high. He may tell you to run for student council, then you run it. Yeah. But you aim high. If that's the highest you can aim, then celebrate it. Yes. But if you can aim higher, don't minimize a God that has maximized your efforts. Yes. Y'all follow me? Right. Don't minimize a God that can maximize your efforts. You turn to him and say, God, I know that you're able. If you tell me to run for this, I'm going to run for it. If you tell me to do this, I'm going to do it. Whatever it may be, we serve such an awesome God. You aim as high as he places on your heart, you place it in your head and you go for it. Because that's the God that we serve. We have to be bold enough to believe that God, when he tells us to aim high, that he's not going to let us fall low. Y'all understand what I'm saying this morning? We have to aim high. Aim high. It's got to say something about our faith. Becoming a champion, you have to believe in God and yourself, even when no one else will. Some people are not going to believe in you. As a true champion, some people are not going to believe in you. Imagine how many people looked at Mike Tyson and said, look at you and your size. There's no way you can become heavyweight champion of the world. But he believed in him. He believed in him. Imagine David, when he came up to the war zone, the battle lines with his brother. David was not encouraged, but he was discouraged by his brother. Yes. Y'all follow me? Imagine, even the king, and oh, Jesus, imagine what I'm about to tell y'all something, don't miss it. Even the king told David, you're too small, you're too young, you're but a child. You better start listening to the king on high. Amen. More than you listen to the kings on low. Y'all follow me? He didn't listen to that, but he listened to the God that was speaking to him within. We have to get to a point where we believe in God and ourselves more than anyone else in the world, even when no one else will. Thirdly, we have to commit to becoming better. and consecrate yourselves for God. Commit to becoming better. If you don't read the scripture, start reading it. If you don't apply it, start applying it. Consecrate yourselves. If that wasn't not what he told Joshua and Caleb, get the people together. Give them this word. Be bold and courageous. Have the people to consecrate themselves for tomorrow. I'm about to do great things. Some of you are not ready to become great champions because you're not ready to set yourself aside for special purposes that God has in store. God has something great in you, but he wants to see some great stuff out of you. And that's you consecrating yourself and committing to becoming better. What can you do to become better for God? What can you do to become a better servant for God? Every single one of you have a to-do list that you get to do to become better. You've already spoken it once, probably 10 times, and said, Lord, if you do this for me, if you do that, if you do this, I'll do this, God. I'll study the word more. I'll come to church more. I'll tithe more. I'll offer more. I'll share more. I'll encourage more. You've committed to it, but you get to do it. What is it? Fourthly, ask God. If you want to become a champion, ask God for drive. Ask him for desire. Ask him for direction. All these things that's needed to get you beyond defeat. You're going to need drive. Because when they hit you, and they're going to hit you, and they're going to hit you hard. And they're going to hit you over and over and over again. And when they don't hit you, they're going to be aiming for you. Every day you get up and breathe, they're going to be aiming for you. Every day you open your eyes, they're coming after you. Before you can get up out of your bed, the devil is after you, trying to defeat you. Before you can even say your prayer, he's trying to get in your head to stop it. You got to ask God, Lord, get me some drive. I need something to get me up and get me moving when I don't want to go. I need something to get me out of the bed when I don't want to get up. I need something, Lord, to help me wipe my tears when I don't want them to stop. I need something, Lord, to motivate me when somebody tries to deactivate me. Amen. Oh, come on, somebody. Amen. Come on, give me some drive, give me some desire. You have to have the desire, and if you don't have it, you better start asking God, Lord, give me desire. I want to be better, Lord. I don't want to just exist. I want to be a champion. Give me desire, Lord. Place within my heart, Lord, that which needs to grow. So when I wake up in the morning, I wake up with desire to serve you greater. Amen. Oh, come on. Amen. Lord, just ask him, give me, Lord, give me directions, Lord, give me directions. Understand that Gideon couldn't step out boldly until he got directions from God. Once he got directions, he knew what he can do at that point. When God gives us directions, then we can move and we can step out boldly and courageous because we know that God is not going to lead us wrong as we follow. He's going to give us directions, but he's going ahead of us. Did he not go ahead of Gideon and prepare the people's mind as he prepared Gideon's heart? Y'all understand what I'm saying? We have to act for these things. If you're going to become a champion, you got to forget what's behind you. Forget what's behind you and focus on what's ahead. Forget what's behind you, focus on what's ahead. Forget what's behind you, focus on what's ahead. Forget what's behind you, focus on what's ahead. Oh, come on, somebody. I watched the Super Bowl this year. A historic Super Bowl this year. New England Patriots against the Atlanta Falcons. And oh my goodness, for 3 quarters plus, the Atlanta Falcons were looking like they were ready to take home a Super Bowl. And by all statistical analysis, that game was over. But there was a guy by the name of Tom Brady. Come on, somebody. A guy by the name of Tom Brady. He forgot those 3 quarters that was behind him. And this man, oh, he saw victory ahead of him. Come on, somebody. He saw victory ahead of him. Now, even when all the world said it was over, even when the commentators were talking about it's over, even when fans, come on, somebody, even your fans will turn on you and say that it's over. Even when they started easing out of the stadium because they thought it was over. All it took was one of them to say, it ain't over just yet, because the clock is still ticking. Church, the clock is still ticking. The clock is still ticking. Don't give up. He forgot what was behind him, and he focused on what was ahead, and that was that Vince Lombardi trophy. God has a trophy in store for you all as well. There's a champion in you. Don't give up. Don't give up. But I want to give you number 6 before number 7, and this is give God the glory. Give God the glory. Give God the glory for all that you gain. Give God the glory for all that you gain. Give God the glory for all that you gain. Give God the glory for all that you gain. Give God the glory for all that you gain. Give God the glory for all that you gain. Give God the glory for all that you gain. We see in Judges 7:15, when Gideon heard the dream and its interpretation, he bowed down and he worshiped. Y'all follow me? He bowed down and he worshiped. You have to give God the glory for everything that you gain. And I'll give you number 7. Number 7, you've heard it once, you're going to hear it again. You have to shout in advance of your victory. You have to shout in advance of your victory. Y'all might think I'm crazy, but I got some victories coming up in 2017, and I'm already shouting. I'm already shouting. I'm thanking God for great help. Y'all follow me? I'm thanking God for great success. I'm thanking God for deliverance. Oh, Jesus, come on. Shout in advance of that victory. Whatever it may be, shout in advance of that victory. Some of you saying, well, Pastor, give me some word on that. You're about to get it. I want you to look in Joshua. I want you to look in Joshua chapter 6, verse 15 through 17. Joshua 6, and it's on the screen. Joshua 6, 17, 15 through 17. And I'm also going to look at verses 20 and 21. On the 7th day, the word says they got up at daybreak and they marched around the city, because keep in mind, God is getting ready to deliver Jericho, a fortified city. He's getting ready to deliver it to his people. When something is fortified, that means it's protected with the best possible protection available. So guess what? Your blessing is on the other side of something that calls itself fortified. But God is getting ready to give somebody a breakthrough. God's getting ready to take that wall down from around your blessing. He's getting ready to take that wall down and make you a champion in so many ways. They got up at daybreak. They marched around the city 7 times in the same manner, except on that day, they circled the city 7 times. Sometimes you got to circle your problem. Y'all understand what I'm saying? You got to circle your problem. I used to see my mama walk around the house all the time. I would see her walk around the house all the time, just circling around the house. My mama, I didn't know, but she was circling her problem because she was praying the whole time, Lord, help me. Lord, I don't know how I'm going to feed these kids. Lord, I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know how I'm going to. You have to sometimes circle your problem. So as they circled this problem 7 times, on the 7th day, they circled it, and all of a sudden, look what the word said. The 7th time around, the priest sounded the trumpet. There go those trumpets again. There are those trumpets again. Sounded the trumpet blast. Joshua commanded the army, shout! Come on, somebody, shout! For the Lord has given you the city. Understand, come on, give him glory. The shout took place before the wall fell down. Soon as they began to shout, then God put to work on that wall. As they shouted, the city and all that is in it. Look what they said. They shouted to the Lord. The city and all that is in it is devoted to the Lord. This shout has preceded that victory, but you better be devoted to God. God ain't delivering this stuff just for you. He's doing, come on somebody, he's delivering it so that you may get the glory. Oh, the mark of a champion. Look at verse 20 and 21, and I'm going to close it out. When the trumpet sounded, the army shouted, and at the sound of the trumpet, when they gave a loud shout, the wall collapsed. I don't know what it is between you and your blessing. I don't know what it is between you and your victory. I don't know what it is between you and you becoming a champion. But I know one thing. You better begin to shout. You better begin to shout. You better begin to shout. You better begin to shout in advance, because God is getting ready to do something. And when the word says they shouted, so everyone charged straight in and they took the city. They devoted the city to the Lord. When God gives it to you, devote it back to him. And I close out with this. Sometimes your shout must come in advance of your success. This is faith. When you're shouting before you even get to success, this is faith. Test God on it this morning. Test him on it this week. Test him on it this month. Test him on it this year. If God meant for it to happen for you, it will happen. If it doesn't, then you be like Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. You serve him anyway. Even if it doesn't, you give him glory anyway. I just want to talk to someone this morning about becoming a champion. God has it in you. Every one of us, he's planted the seed of a champion in us. It's got to take some things to get it out of you. I pray that this word has watered you so that God's light will continue to shine on you, and that champion will grow out of you. Give God the glory. Give him the glory. If you've been blessed, bless him.